happens when we embrace the darkness.
This is out of my nightmares!
These overnights will be in the pitch darkness.
I'm actually lost. Dude, we're like getting lured in. What the
All new season, Destination Fear, Friday, November 25th at 9 on Shroud.
What's up, everybody? And it looks like it's a party here today. Back on the channel of Big Gold Belt Media, because I am joined by the cast of Destination Fear. We're about to get ready for season 4 coming this Friday, November 25th. You can check it out on Discovery Plus or on the Travel Channel. So you got a couple of options to check it out this week. And as we get ready for season 4, we're going to have some fun today. I have some questions, of course, and hopefully the crew is ready to go. But how's everyone doing? Everyone, you are allowed to have flashlights here, just FYI.
No. Okay, well, I'm going to have a flashlight.
I'm not a tyrant, okay? You can have flashlights. But how's everybody feeling? Getting ready for season 4, which is, first of all, it's a huge accomplishment, especially in this very uncertain, modern day of media, where 1 minute you have a show, the next minute you don't. But you got 4 going strong. Discovery Plus has a lot of investment into the paranormal genre, and I checked out the first 2 episodes, and it's about to be a fun one. But for you all, how you all taking it in and processing everything?
I never thought we'd get this far. I didn't think people would like watching four adults scream their asses off at every location, but apparently it's working.
Honestly, so
How about you? How you feeling?
bro. Like, to have season 4, like, it's been a whole year, and so like the anticipation for everyone here is just like, we're so ready for people to finally see what we went through.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's so weird, like filming something, wanting to share it with everyone, and then having to wait so long. It's like I like forgot some of the locations. I'm like, where did we even go?
Yeah,
But
sometimes we're talking about this place. I'm like, oh yeah, we did go there. When did we go there? Oh yeah, it was just 8 months ago.
and we like film the show, we're done. Dakota edits the show too, so he's always immersed in this paranormal world. So
Yeah.
I gotta say,
really leave the trip.
it's a fair trade-off. As somebody who edits, for everything that Dakota puts you all through, I think the editing process is very similar in terms of fear.
Yeah, it's true. There's times where I tell them, I'm like, you guys, like, I'm gonna be watching this night for like 4 weeks, so like, give me some entertainment. Give me we do a thing, because I edit with my buddy Connor, and like we do a thing where whenever we can, we'll shout out Connor, or sometimes you guys will shout out me.
Yeah.
But it helps the edit process when there's like notes for you, like, hey Dakota, how's it going? I'm like, aw.
Yeah. We were thinking about me there.
Cuties.
That's awesome. I love it. And I love the sort of the trust you have in one another. So I definitely, Dakota, I want to give you just a second to pause here, because I absolutely want to know what your friends and obviously your sister think of you. So if you all had a couple of words to describe Dakota and everything that he puts you through, this friendship you have, what would those words be?
What would they be, guys?
Well,
One second.
Evil genius.
Genius.
I mean, that's the good thing. Like, it's evil, but it's also genius, some of the things you come up with.
Are you brilliant right now?
I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry, guys.
Genius.
Mine would be little brother.
Yeah. Little.
Okay, big sister. How do you like that?
The flashlight thing was pretty cruel. That's pretty for sure. But Dakota definitely is, like everyone can attest, he's a hard worker. That guy comes up with a bunch of different ideas and a bunch of different stuff, and he's our editor, so he's always working his butt off. But that was still pretty cruel, and that there's going to be some punishment and payback for sure.
That was 2 words. Tina just wrote a love letter to you.
Thank you.
I want, but
that was sweet.
He can still be a jerk sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, Dakota. I guess it's only fair that I let you get to describe your best friend and your sister. She's also
He was hardworking too, and all
honestly, just a bunch of delinquents. No, I mean,
Okay, subordinate.
I think though, like truthfully, like that's like what makes the show so special is like we all genuinely love each other, and there are days on the road where I will not lie, it gets really hard. It's hard to film. It's hard to be concentrated, and whenever that happens to one of us, like the other three step in and just cheer them up. And I've been that person before who needed to be cheered up, and it's awesome. Like we have such a cool bond, and even when the show ends, it's like, I don't know if you can say that about a lot of TV shows, but when this show ends, we're still going to be hanging out and partying, and like that's just what we do. We're all friends. Partying as in like working and like
working
Yeah,
out.
because they party all the time.
going on Tinder. That's a party.
Sure.
It is. Oh man, Dakota, the idea of creating a paranormal show and making it unique is a challenge in its own, especially again in the very niche genre. And I think the biggest investment with me personally in watching this is the idea that you really want to make this as authentic as possible. And when you use words like, I want to make this a challenge, I want to make this experimental, and then you start using words like, all right, we need to get like very genuine reactions. So we need to go darker. We need to like take like the constraints out of things to really make those reactions very genuine and authentic and organic. Which in this case, I guess you figure it's cool to like, put people in tunnels and put people in these chairs sitting around, and this music box is just completely just it's not even right. I mean, come on, that's damn cruel here. But I do appreciate that because we as the viewers, we kind of do. We're walking through that tunnel. We're sitting in that chair. We're feeling these sorts of different things that you all are feeling. How did you sort of like teeter this, knowing your goal, but also having to put your friends in the trenches here? Like, how do you kind of balance that to make it work?
I mean, luckily, once again, we all love each other, right? Right?
Yeah.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's definitely like we all do like it. We like pushing ourselves, and there's always gonna be one bad guy. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's you, sometimes it's you too. It's not just me. But I mean, going to the authentic thing too, like that, I'm glad that you picked up on that, because that was the hardest part with making the show, was keeping it authentic. And like we do things, a lot of people don't even realize, but like there is no voiceover in the show. We don't take you out of the moment ever. So like when we're filming, you are seeing from start to finish our POV, and there's just a lot of little things. And I think most of that came from being a fan like of this genre and knowing what I like and what I don't like. And then, I mean, yeah, we like to keep it as authentic as possible. We don't, even like with audio, like we don't have an audio guy, we don't have a camera guy, because we don't want them to take us out of the moment. So it's just us, and we try to keep it as genuine as possible.
That's why if you notice, our shotgun mics are pointed the wrong way on our cameras, and it's literally just to pick up our own voice.
Yeah. Definitely did notice that. And I want to come back with a secondary question, because you are wearing multiple hats in terms of making this show happen. Could you talk a little bit about the logistics in booking these destinations? Because from peeping, down the line in other places you visit, obviously the first 2 episodes were in PA, but you're going to Ohio, you're going to Tennessee, Connecticut, Cali, kind of bouncing all over the place. How do you sort of schedule these to kind of make this work?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest challenge is just finding the locations that are close enough to each other to make it worth a road trip. The hard part, though, is when everyone picks. So we have a producer who's kind of the middleman for everyone, and he'll know my locations, but then like Chelsea or Alex or Tanner, they'll go to that producer and say, like, here's what I want to do. That guy will kind of vet it, like, is someone else already picking that one, or is this close-ish? And so we do have a middleman who's kind of the know-all, because I genuinely don't want to know where you guys are picking, and you guys don't want to know where I am. That's the fun of it, is finding out right then and there. But logistically, it is a nightmare. I mean, we shoot these things in one stint. It's a one road trip, about a month to a month and a half straight. And one thing goes wrong, which has happened. Like, we've had RVs break down, and like, once you get behind in schedule, it's really hard to catch back up. So you really have to be like pinpoint planning.
Yeah. And one other question too. Could you talk a little bit, because I one thing with me in the first episode, I believe it was, not that I'm claustrophobic or anything, but like walking with Chelsea down these tunnels. The first thing I started to think was like, okay, this is really messed up that you put her in a tunnel. But then the secondary thing I started to think is like, you start talking about the history of this site, and you know how long ago it was, and then the first thing is like tunnels, and you think about debris and all sorts of other random things that always happens in movies and whatnot. How do you kind of go about safety in some of these places? Is it something that sort of just okay? Like, does it happen, or is it considered, or is it just like you know, we kind of, that's also part of the adventure as well too?
As part of the adventure, unfortunately, like we try to be cognizant of rooms that are of rooms that you can fall through. Like we try, but at the same time, like we are in the dark, we are exploring, and that is truthfully half of the battle for us is that lack of information. And that lack of information sometimes makes you go to the worst place in your head as well, and it makes it way more scary.
Dakota, I feel like you're actually more drawn to buildings that are more decrepit and more like I feel like you actually like those locations more.
I do.
It's like you have a death wish.
I do. I do.
Well, I got to put somebody on the hot seat, because based on what you say with your previous answer to my question, there's an episode that is being labeled as the GOAT of all haunted locations. Who picked this place?
Hey, how's it going?
What can we expect with that? That's, I mean, when you say the GOAT, I mean, you know, when you talk about sports or just anything, you know, you're talking of the highest of high degree here. So there's now a lot of expectation for this episode now. And I saw that, I was like, okay, as if the first two episodes wasn't enough. A two-parter at that for one location. So what is this one episode going to be able to do the top of location at two episodes? What might you be able to tease about that one?
So this is a place that has never been seen on TV before. And those are like those like holy grails for us, where we can find a place that no one's ever heard of. I mean, it wasn't even like back in the day, we created this huge list that had over like 200 haunted locations, and that location was not even on that list. So it was just a complete blindside to everybody. And it's called Old Harriman Hospital. And it is a, 10 floors tall. It's absolutely massive. It looks like it was abandoned yesterday. It has gurneys in there still, paperwork, equipment, chairs, everything. Like, it is the wildest thing, because you walk in there and you can actually connect with the building more, because you know exactly what rooms are which. And then what happened in there, I don't want to give too much away, but it was just nonstop crazy stuff, and everyone was screaming. So I was happy with that. I was not in the moment, but I was definitely happy that it was definitely a good spot.
It's a screaming episode, that's for sure.
Okay.
Go, right. Like, get our asses out of there. Go. Yeah.
Wow, that actually works.
I swear at times, like, I swear Chelsea's like the one of the crew that's just constantly like the moral compass of like, I don't know why we're doing this. There's no reason we should be there. This is insane. Like the whole, like, even in the beginning of the first episode and trying to say like, do you want to kind of like, you know, rock, paper, scissors or whatever it was to see who goes next, who's going to be able to go next in the blindfold. I was like, no, it's because I don't want to go at all. So why would I do that?
Yep. The one good thing about doing this with your best friends and your brothers, you can just be honest and just say no when you really don't think something's like, we're not doing this today. But usually
we'll go, yeah, we are.
We're doing it.
Yeah, we're still going to do it.
Guess who follows you? Me.
I appreciate your input, but denied.
I just want the audience to know that like this wasn't a good idea. So if something happens, like I wasn't necessarily like totally on board with it.
And again, that's another part of, I feel, the realistic authenticity and reaction to things is like everybody, even when you watch it, you're like, oh, there's no way. The drone shot of the campus, you're like, oh, I'm just there's no way. So like, yeah, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, there's no way, and then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I think I do want to go in there, but I understand, like, all right, yeah, let's do this, let's muster up the courage, let's do this, you know. So I do appreciate everyone's very much reluctancy, especially when Dakota's like, all right, let's go, and everyone's like, maybe a little longer here. And another thing to kind of throw to all of you all, in these scenarios, especially, again, talking about Cresson Sanatorium and Prison, how do you kind of balance out the education, the history of these places, plus actually being there on site? Is there ever a moment where the things you hear or you remember reading and was known or whatever starts to run through your head in these moments where you're truly isolated, and I guess you're having either big thoughts or you're having like these very isolated, secluded, zero thoughts type of moments? Like, how do you kind of balance that mindset there?
It's tough, like especially with a place the size of Cresson, like all the information that you dug up on that place, it's hard to keep track of everything. It really is. And especially when you're going on a road trip and you're reading a packet one night and then 2 nights later you're reading another packet. By the end of it, we just jumble up the stories and have no idea what we're even talking about most of the time.
Well, that's the interesting part of Cresson is we didn't know that we were going to be there for 2 nights. So when we read that original packet, we were under the interpretation that that is all that location had to offer. And then when we thought we like successfully accomplished this location, Dakota tells us not only are we going back a second night, but there's a lot more to this location than we thought. So that threw a whole curveball in how I thought about the location, without a doubt.
Cruel. This cruel. But I do appreciate it, because I was like, after the first episode, I was like, oh, we have more questions here. I would love to know how some of you all will react in different locations. And this campus is very big. And I believe it was, let me see, was it Tanner? Was it you, Tanner? Or was it you, Alice? Who had the chair? I forgot. Who in the hallway?
In the basement on the second episode?
Yeah,
that was me.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, you play it safe. You did what I did, just stay in the same place and not move. But then it's like, well, I still want to explore, because again, that's why I like what Chelsea used to, and much like you said, like, why would you move around? I was like, yeah, why would you do that? But also I appreciate it because you took one for the team here. But that's why I wanted to make sure, like, I'm glad we got a second part, because I did want to see more of this place. I thought, Dakota, something else was really interesting as well too, is also having sort of testimonies and interviews from folks who had already explored this place. When you are able to obtain that type of knowledge, how do your gears kind of rotate from this point of saying, like, is it like a sense of like taking this information and using it, or taking this information, kind of want to do something different? Like, what was sort of the train of thoughts here once you hear somebody that's already explored, like this location, for instance?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of the people too that you see interviewed, I have talked to them months before, pre-interviewing them, so I kind of get to know the stories and what they're going to probably tell us. But yeah, I mean, I use that information. We all do, with a grain of salt too. It's like, it is not your story, so I think we all kind of tend to take it with a grain of salt and try to experience it for ourselves. And if we do, then it's like, okay, that person was right. Wow. But I don't know. I think it's important too, though, just to hear from a few others before we step inside and just hear some of those stories. And it just makes it more real what we're about to do. It's not just this thing on paper. It's like, no, we have actual people telling us some of these crazy claims, and we're about to be in there all by ourselves.
Yeah. My biggest question now is, when it's all said and done, the episode's over, you get back in the RVs, on to the next location. What's sort of the decompression moments, kind of washing that previous experience off? What do you kind of do to kind of, reset for the next adventure?
A lot of goofy voices, a lot of screaming.
Literally just goof around, and we just try to make each other laugh. That's our way of coping with the horrifying night we just had. Is if we can start making each other laugh, then we're all good. We got a 6-hour drive. Chelsea is annoyed by us by the end of it. It's even better.
even in the RV, like every episode we end and we drive away, and then there's always shots of us in slow motion, kind of sitting in the RV, looking out the window, and like we use that as a time too to really like have fun. We're like, if you ever see a shot of someone smiling in those shots, what was happening behind the camera, I can't even say.
I know
we're trying to have a serious moment in a slow-mo shot, and well,
stuff happens.
Yeah, we're being told to look like a badass, and then one of us is just doing the dumbest thing you could possibly think of behind him, just to get him to smile.
I know as a filmmaker, there's no way that the content doesn't go anywhere. So I could imagine there has to be another documentary at some point coming down the pipeline for you.
There's definitely about 100 gigs of deleted or never before seen bloopers that probably would never see the light of day.
Well, again, as we get ready for season 4, just to kind of go around the table real quick, kind of describe what can we expect, and maybe even some of your reactions to the things you've been through this next season.
Total darkness. That's like the biggest thing is just total darkness. I think the fear levels were amplified tenfold this entire trip. Me personally, I had one of the most terrifying moments of my Destination Fear career at the Winchester Mystery House, which Chelsea took us to. So be on the lookout for that one. I screamed like a baby.
But like a strong,
a strong, manly baby.
Like a baby that works out.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think truthfully, this has got to be the most bizarre season. There are a handful of things that happen that I still can't even wrap my brain around. Stuff with the radios, stuff with even this first episode, which you've seen with the music box in the tunnel. It's like some things happen this season. We've had terrifying things that we can explain or that we can at least wrap our heads around. Oh, that's a ghost. But we've had stuff that was just what the heck even is this?
Another thing that you actually brought up, Dakota, not too long ago was just the fact that this season really shows everyone's personalities a lot more. And I feel like being new to the TV world, we've slowly been, kind of conforming to who we really are. And I think you said it the best that, it's a really great season just as far as personality and getting knowing our personalities and things like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think that this season is our best one yet, to be honest with you. I know we say it every single year, but we somehow topped ourselves again. I mean, it's scarier, it's darker. Some of the places that we go to are bigger. We do our first 2-part episode. I mean, this is such a good season. I can't wait finally for people to see it.
Yeah, it is. Oh man, I get chills thinking about some of the things already I've seen, and that is it should have stayed. Those feelings should stay while you're watching things, but the fact that they come with you, the knocking 3 times, and now I'm scared to even do little things I usually do, like knocking on the table and thinking oh shoot, if I hear that, I'm running out of this room. and the faint voices in the background. So now I'm just on my P's and Q's about everything now after it. But I'm sure that's the reaction that you want, is for folks to come along on this adventure with you. And I again, I think it's, in this very unpredictable world that Discovery Plus is being fully invested into this genre. Your show is a beautiful thing. Hopefully we get a lot more seasons, but man, we got to get through season 4 because right now I'm struggling to get through the first 2 episodes. Last question for you all, because I should have asked this at the beginning. I do appreciate that you all are not family friendly on the show, because there's absolutely no way you don't just say holy F in the middle of an occurrence. And there's other shows that kind of do that. I was just it's not to say that I'm promoting cursing here, but it was to say these reactions here, you can tell you're being very bleeped about it. That doesn't feel so authentic for it. But I love the fact that you all got I guess it is a testament to what you're saying, really seeing you all's personality, because you really can see the banter, the camaraderie, the trust, but still the level of professionalism to go out there and do the job, put out the entertainment for us, scare the hell out of us for an hour each. But at the same time, being a sacrificial lamb for these environments that I would never go into.
No, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, folks, you get a chance to check out Destination Fear, premiering Friday, November 25th, 9 p.m. on the Travel Channel, streaming the same day on Discovery Plus. Crew, anything else y'all want to say before we roll out today?
Just tune in.
Tune in, watch it, and keep watching all the episodes. Rewatch them. Helps us out a lot.
Yeah.
And thanks for having us on, man. This is awesome.
Yes, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
This is awesome.
I'm glad it's finally coming out. I'm glad for you all, and hopefully we get to do this again very soon.
Yes, definitely.
So, folks, jump in the comments, show them some love. Get ready for the premiere this week. And as I said, watch it multiple times. Keep coming through. And listen, no promoting just because I'm just interviewing them. But I'm going to tell you, you will have to watch some of these episodes a few times because you have to have the utmost type of courage to not close your eyes in certain scenes because it's really intense.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it's been a pleasure to talk to you all, and hopefully we get to do it again very soon. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll catch you back very soon.